Hi, my name is Allison Van Rassel, and I am a coffee enthusiast. Coffee is one of the world's most consumed beverages. Everybody has their favorite way of drinking coffee. Mine, for example, is a cortado, espresso with a little bit of steamed milk on top. Well, preparing coffee has a direct impact on the end result, and that is a world unto itself. Hi, Jean-Philippe.
Bien le bonjour.
How are you?
Very good. How about a coffee?
Yes. Let's go with a cortado.
I'm ready.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Always ready.
So while you prepare that, I'd like to know a little bit about you.
I come from Abitibi-Témiscamingue, from a small town called Nord-Métal, and I arrived here back in 2010.
Okay, and you've been working in the coffee industry ever since.
2011. Before that, I used to go to Tim Hortons back in La Sarre to hang out with my friends. So it was my first contact with coffee.
Hi, Guillaume.
Hi, Allison.
So how do you start your day? What are you drinking now?
Today I'm drinking drip coffee from a batch brew machine at the coffee shop. Basically, it's wash Peru coffee. It's very a classic coffee, not feeling like chocolates. It's like a crowd pleaser.
That's exactly what comes to mind when you're saying that. There's a lot of chocolate in there, just a little bit of bitterness, not too much that we get from darker chocolates.
Yeah.
Emile, hi.
Hi.
You work here as a barista.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty busy cafe.
Yeah, it's a pretty basic cafe. It's a beautiful cafe, though.
What does it take to be a barista?
You have to love people, for sure. Love coffee as well. The two main things. Then you have to be able to wake up early sometimes.
Coffee is one of the very few beverages that you actually have to prepare in order to consume. I have to infuse it.
You have to infuse it, and the brewing process is very important. Most of the flavor and aromas compound in the coffee beans are not soluble in water. So how do you extract all these flavor? It depends on the water quality, the chemistry of your water, but it also depends on the temperature of your water, your pressure that you're using to do that, and also the rate of extraction that you're doing. So basically, that's why you cannot have, twice the same coffee.
Yeah.
Every time it's a unique experience because it depends how you brew it, it depends how it has been roasted, how it was mixed, and where it comes from.
What attracted you to the barista job?
The barista job. I remember the time of my life, like when I was back in Trois-Rivières, and I was going to Third Wave Coffee at the time. It was called Frida Cafe. And it was like my introduction to the Third Wave Coffee. I went to the barista and I asked, hey, why is it different from elsewhere? And he asked me, it's lighter torrefaction, direct trade, like a new approach of the coffee. And I was like, oh, cool, that's interesting. And I started getting more knowledge about it. And then finally I worked in a coffee shop myself.
It was an illumination for me when I drank my first cup of good coffee, because I thought that every coffee that I used to drink when I was younger and I was not into specialty coffee was good as well. I was that guy. And when I taste my first natural coffee from Ethiopia, it was tasting like blueberry chocolate. It was round, it was juicy. It was just amazing. I was just amazed. I was like, oh, it's possible that coffee tastes that good and that fruity, and that it was just so different than everything that I tasted before. So it's just changed my life.
You're preparing cortado now, right?
Absolutely. Very serious
Yes.
process.
There's a lot of attention to detail in the
Yeah.
preparation of specialty coffee.
That's why I usually not talk while making coffees, but I try. I try my best.
My God, that's so good. When did you know that you wanted to dedicate your life to preparing coffee like this?
I'm gonna say it's more along the way while doing it, because the first years I was in the process of learning everything about coffee. I had to go through the process and then have recognition from the people I was working for and also the customers, I guess, because the customers are going to validate your work also. Consistency is a thing in coffee. The way you're gonna steam the milk, the extraction of the shots also, you have to be super precise, and it's always a very subtle thing also to prepare coffee. You have to be super minimalistic.
Yeah.
You have to focus on everything, and steaming milk, it seems a bit easy, but it's not, and as you know.
It's not. I tried it a little bit, and I've been working on it regularly, and it's hard. How do you manage to brew the perfect coffee or brew a good cup of coffee?
You have to know some stuff to help your customer to like achieve a good coffee. So you know a little bit of the base recipe for each way to extract.
And baristas often talk about the bloom.
Yeah.
What is that?
The bloom is a way to get rid of the CO2 inside the coffee bean. Basically, when you roast coffee bean, it creates CO2 in the beans. And even when the coffee is ground, a lot of CO2 get out at this moment, but it still have a lot in the coffee particle, you know? So when you drip the water, you'll see the coffee will kind of bloom,
Yeah.
will expand.
It's so
And
beautiful.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. You see even on a drip coffee, a kind of a crema that appear, but you'll see as well a lot of bubble. It doesn't help your extraction, you know, it's uneven because some of the coffee touch more water and some of the coffee touch just air. So if you just pour a little amount of water and you let it sit for between 30 seconds to, you could go up to 2 minutes if you want. So after that, when you pour the rest of the water, it will be more even, like the water will flow more evenly through the coffee and lead to a more even extraction. And even extraction is a way to achieve balanced coffee.
Personally, I like a coffee with the crema. And because the crema it goes onto your tongue and it provides aromas for hours after you, because it just goes through your receptor buds and just spread over. So that's why it sticks to your mouth and to your brain for hours. I love it.
You said water has a pretty good impact on the quality of the coffee you will brew. What's the answer there?
Water is, by definition, the largest concentration of a chemical within your coffee. Okay, so if you have bad tasting water, there's no way you're going to get a good coffee. So you need good tasting water. And how you get good tasting water is having highly pure water. And then there's also the salts in there. You get hard water, you get soft water, and that will impact the quantity and the different aromas and flavoring compound you will extract. The more calcium ion, the more magnesium ion you get, the less compound will be extracted that will make your coffee flavorful.
How long does the coffee have to be in contact with water in order to extract the most flavor molecules?
That depends on the water temperature and depends on the pressure as well. Okay, so these are all related. The more pressure, the more higher temperature, then you need less contact time in order to extract the natural flavors that are in there. That's why you don't get a lot of pressure with your drip machine.
No.
And so basically you just extract what you can. The temperature, it's not 100 degrees Celsius with those machines. So that's why it makes a regular coffee that tastes all the same, but it's not the best coffee you can get.
What's your favorite coffee?
There is no favorite coffee because there is so many coffee, and I think I add so much favorite coffee. It depends of the beans, it depends of where I'm drinking the coffee, how I extract my coffee, so I don't have such thing as one specific favorite coffee.
Oh, I like that.
But for myself, like a good coffee, I have to be balanced. It's like the first thing that comes into my mind. It have to have a perfect balance between acidity and bitterness.
Is there a bad way to make coffee?
Every way of extraction is a good way of extraction. It's just you can like miss a coffee.
Amazing coffee is something that with your first sip you say, oh my God, that's good. Something that you remember, something that brings into your brain a memory of a good experience. For me, having a coffee in Napoli, having a coffee in Paris, or in Quebec City.
I really like pour-over coffee, filter coffees in general, with lightly roast beans, and I really like Ethiopia.
What do you like about those filter coffees?
Really fruity, vibrant. It's just perfect.
There are many ways to prepare a coffee. Can you give us your favorite way to drink coffee?
Well, if I have a machine like this, of course I'm gonna say espresso. But if I go back home, if I go to my parents or even at my house, I have a tendency to make maybe more of a slow drip.
Yeah.
Like the Chemex or the V60.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's filter coffee.
It's the equivalent of filter coffee, drip coffee. Yeah. That's
okay.
for sure. First thing, I'm gonna boil the water to an established temperature, so it's super precise. Same thing for the coffee itself that I'm gonna balance right now. It's our recipe is 25 grams in.
What is 25 grams in?
25 grams in is actually the coffee beans. The coffee beans is gonna be 25 grams that I'm gonna grind at the established number for the grinding. Super easy. First thing I'm gonna do is put 50 grams of water approximately. So after 30 seconds, I'm just gonna add approximately 100 grams of water. It's a routine. It's a routine that you're gonna do over and over again. So the result is gonna be pretty much always the same.
There are specifics. There are measurements.
Yeah.
There are recipes. It's liquid cuisine, basically, what you're telling me.
It's in fact, it's science, basically. All that measurement and all that precision will lead you to good coffee, to balanced coffee, and to like constants, like good cup after good cup after good cup.
Because you want your coffee to be the same for everybody, because you know what you established as a recipe, so you want it to be constant, and you want people to get the same experience if they come back twice, or for a third time, fourth time. And even if it's a new person, you want it to be the same as the person before. You want all the natural aromas to be faithful to the farmers who created it, who cultivated it. You want to recreate always the same experience, and you want to be faithful to how the coffee was roasted, how the coffee was cultivated.
So you go to a local coffee shop, you ask help at the barista.
Yeah.
Why do you feel the barista is the perfect person to ask those questions to?
I think the barista have to know a little bit about coffee, even if he just like start in it, because if you are a barista, it's one of your job to educate people about the coffee, because the coffee that you sell, it's not a final product, you know? When you buy like craft beer or wine, you just got to open the bottle and the product is finished. But for the coffee, it's very different.
What's the relationship like with the consumers when they're coming to you for answers about the coffee industry? What are some of the questions they regularly ask you?
Oh yeah, sometimes it's, oh, the coffees are really pricey here. How's that? And we have to explain that we make direct trade, and the people that produce the coffees are really well paid, like even more than the fair trade coffee, which is not as fair as we may think it is. So the direct trade is really an important part of the business. After that, there's the beans. Like we have espresso beans, we have filter beans. They're all different on a scale of roasting. So which one suits best the people? There's questions about the different type of beverage, like what's a cappuccino, what's a latte, what's a macchiato. Yeah, we all have to explain this because we do it a certain way here in Saint-Henri, but it's not the same way as other coffees on the street.
Oh, really? Why not?
Yeah, because there are third wave standards that we respect here, but those are not the same standard as coffee shops that can be called second wave.
How do consumers react when you present them with coffees that are of a different standard, that have different aromas, that have a different mouthfeel? What's the reaction there?
It really depends on the persons. Some are more open-minded to it and they embrace like this new wave of coffee. Others don't really care, and others don't like it. They don't like the beans that are lightly roasted, which make coffees a more bit acidic. Some people just don't like it, and it's okay.
Customer service is something that can be difficult sometimes, because when people are curious, it doesn't mean that they are open to the answer. You wanna take them somewhere with you, but they won't necessarily embark.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's difficult, but I think people are getting more open to coffee.
You're there to respect the coffee. You're there to elaborate a recipe in order to prepare the best version of that coffee to everyone that walks in here.
Definitely.
Is that what being a barista is?
People, whenever they walk in, they have to feel 100% welcome here. And you just have to have a little chat with the person in front of you, and you wanna target the exact thing that they want, because sometimes they're gonna ask for something, and if you take for granted that this is what they want, maybe that's not what they want. It's a question of being curious and connecting with the person. You want to know exactly what they want, and then you want to adapt.
It smells so nice.
The one I made is a Colombian coffee.
What's special about Colombian coffee?
Well, this specific one is a light roast, so it's gonna have maybe something more floral, more fruity. So I think it's sometimes maybe more appropriate for drip coffee. Okay. It could be good as espresso as well. It depends of the recipe you're gonna establish. It depends of how you like it, how you're gonna extract it.
This is very exciting. The beauty of this coffee, I can smell the aroma in the coffee shop. Already you walk in and this just smells beautifully. Can we cheers with coffee? Can we do that?
Can.
Cheers.
Sure.
Cheers. Now I have to ask you this very indiscreet question. To be a barista, do you have to have a mustache and a beanie all the time and tattoos? Or that's part of the game?
Part of the game, yeah. You're not a real barista if you don't have a beanie and a mustache. And
I love
tattoos.
that. Now, something tells me that you'll never see your cup of coffee the same way again, that you'll better understand the subtleties and the aromas associated to coffee. By the way, where do you like to drink your coffee? At home or in a coffee shop?